Yeah.
All right. How did you like the opening act? They were. That guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard act to follow. But I was asked by a young man in a red hat, how did you start playing the guitar? And so I'm going to tell you that story right now. Like I said, I started on the trumpet, and but you know, you didn't get any girls with the trumpet. And everybody I saw play the guitar had girls, and I wanted girls. And so my dad had a guitar. My dad had 2 guitars, and I still own both of them. And he had an electric guitar, so I just remember, this is how I remember it. I was walking down the hall, junior high, and there was a bulletin board, and it said talent show, 2 weeks, sign up. So I signed up, and I went home that night and told my parents that I entered the talent show. And my mother, you know, mothers, they're always encouraging, that's good, son. But Dad, you know, well, what are you going to do? And really, I hadn't thought about it. I just liked the idea of being in a talent show, but I hadn't thought about what exact talent I was going to bring to the show. So I'd been plunking around on his little electric guitar when he would let me. And my dad, we discovered, I just got to tell him this years later after Mother had passed away, and it was just, I was taking care of him, and we were at the house one night, and I finally got to confess to him, because he's told me I could play his electric guitar when he was there, you know, but not when he wasn't there. But of course, you know, and like I told you earlier, he was a military guy, you know, and so pretty particular about his things. His shirt's all hung one way, and his shoes, the toes are in the closet, and everything. So he kept his amp and guitar in the closet, up against the wall, in this particular place. Well, I'd go in there and get it, and I'd take a little ruler and I'd lay in front of the amplifier. Just lay it there so I knew the amp goes back there, and I'd make sure I knew where the guitar was, and I'd get out and play it, and then about 30 minutes before he's going to get home, I'd put it all back in. So just you know, when he was 93 or 94, one night sitting there, I finally confessed to him. And he said, yeah, I knew you were doing that. He said, I always knew you were playing it. He said, but you went to so much trouble. He said, I just couldn't say anything about it. So anyway, back to the talent show. So my parents, my dad said, well, what are you going to do? And so I just thought, I'd blurt it out. I was, I'm going to play the guitar. And Dad said, well, son, you don't play the guitar. And I said, well, I don't now, but I got 2 weeks. And so my mother took me to FedMart in San Antonio. They had a record section, and I just looked, it said instrumentals, guitar instrumentals, and I just picked the very first album that I came to. Unfortunately for me, it was Roy Clark. And so, but I didn't know who he was. He was just, you know, he's just another guitar player. And so I took well, I mean, I didn't know. And so I was a kid. My faith was incredible. And so,
what happened?
I'm going to tell you. I took the album home and I put it on the turntable. And so in order to make it easy on me, I just put the needle on the first song on the first side, because that was easy to get to. And I could hear it and try to figure out what it was, and then take the needle back off, put it back on, take the needle back off. The unfortunate part of that was that it was a song called Malagania. And so, yeah. And so I'd put that needle on, and it would go. I'd take the needle off, and I'd go. put the needle back on. Finally, one day, I did that. I went, wow, cool. All right. So I practiced on it for 2 weeks. I entered the contest. I played Mulligania in front of a bunch of people. I'll tell you how it ended in a minute. I'll go ahead and play a little bit of it for you because I'm not very good. I still can't play it. I can't imagine how terrible it must have sounded. But but let's just go. Here we go. As Paul Harvey would say, here's the rest of the story. All right. I'd like to tell you I won the talent show. Yeah. I'd like to tell you that. But that would be not a story. It would be a lie. And I was beat by a little, like 8-year-old baton twirler girl in a pink tutu, and her baton was on fire. Now, I know, and it was before Jimi Hendrix, you know. I didn't know I could have wore a pink tutu. I could have set my guitar on fire. But the good news about all that is she doesn't twirl the baton anymore, and I still play the guitar. My mother said, "Son, that was really, really good." My dad said, "Oh, that was interesting." All right, so you wanted to hear Shoes. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, you going to sing with me?
Sure.
Okay. Now, I got to remember that I haven't done this song in so long. I wrote this song, like I was telling somebody, who was I talking to about being obsessive compulsive? There you, back in the back. I'm so obsessive compulsive disorder, right? Only I like compulsive disorder, obsessive. To me makes better sense. CDO. It's just makes more sense. So at any rate, they didn't have a diagnosis for that when I was in school. I was just the weird kid who had to have everything at right angles. On my desk always looked so good, but I made straight F's. And I'd get upset because the teacher would start writing on the blackboard and she would write crooked. It would go uphill, and like it would confuse the heck out of me. Miss Sherbert, would you mind please you're going like way up on the end. I can't. And she's, they didn't really know what was the matter with me. At the time they didn't have anything for that. But I learned how to control it pretty good. The only time it really gets the best of me is when I'm driving and it's raining, and I start counting windshield wiper. Oh, it's horrible. It's a horrible thing. I have to turn them off. That's even worse. I've turned them back on. 1001, 1002, and so it's not so bad. But at any rate, my wife is not obsessive compulsive. In fact, she lives in piles. There's piles of things around, and she knows where everything is in those piles. And so the rest of the house belongs to her, but my office is where everything is right with the world. Everything looks so good in there. I can't find nothing, but it looks so good. People go, "You're so organized." I go, "Yeah, maybe, but I don't know where anything is." But so in my office is where everything's right. Well, one day she came in for a little visit and say hello, and she left her shoes in my room there, and just laying there on the floor. Shoes don't go there, And I don't leave shoes on the floor in my room, and that was bad enough. And had they been side by side like this, it would have been a little easier, but they weren't. One was like here, and the other one was over there. So it was like no matter what I did, it was just bothering me. So I left them there for like 4 or 5 days, and I knew if I picked them up and moved them, she was going to come ask for them. But I couldn't stand it, so I picked them up and put them in her closet. And that same day, she came in and goes, "Where are my shoes?" I said, "Well, I put them in your closet." "Well, I didn't leave them in the closet. I left them right there." And I go, "I know, and I'm sorry, honey." And she walked out of the room, and I wrote this song. And it's called "You Left Your Shoes in My Room." And it's a story. It's not a lie. All right. Boy, if I can just remember any of this. You left your shoes in my room. Now your wardrobe's incomplete. You left your shoes in my room. Now you're in your stocking feet. Oh, you left your shoes in my room. 2 questions come to mind. Will you be gone a little while? Or are you gone for good this time? Who left your shoes in my room? I guess I could suppose you left those shoes in my room 'cause you want to show off those cute little toes. You left your shoes in my room. Ah, but I could be mistaken. Maybe you just left so fast you just forgot to take 'em. Now I know you're out there somewhere, girl, and that's what breaks my heart. 'Cause you ain't got no shoes, and you might step on something sharp. Yes, that's right. Do 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 do. Wank wank. Of course, you might not be on foot. I mean, you could have called a ride. You can't ride forever, girl. Someday, got to step outside. When you do, and your foot hits the ground, you're gonna wake up. Whoa, my foot sure does feel funny out here on the asphalt. My foot feels naked. I go, no, this is Texas, man. Your foot is bare. You left your shoes in my room. Did you mean to share them? You left your shoes in my room. Now if those shoes still fit you, come home and wear them. You left your shoes in my room. And if the truth be told, the leather's fine, they both still shine, but they've lost a little soul. You left your shoes. That's your part. You left your shoes. You remember those shoes, don't you, girl? Those cute little black patent leather things with the bows on top. You left your shoes. You woke me up early one morning. You said, honey, I do love you so very, very much. You said you loved me so much that you were taking me to Sears and you were going to buy me a new toolbox. All right. You left your... Ooh, I got all excited about that because Lord knows I could sure use another toolbox. You know, come on. You left your... So we jumped in the car. We drove as fast as we could to Sears. Got out. I locked the door. I grabbed your hand. We ran inside. Yeah, we ran inside. And somehow ended up in the ladies' shoe department. I still don't know how that happened. All I know is you're standing there looking at me, batting those little brown eyes, going, honey, I think I gotta have these. And I'm doing what any man would do at that point. I'm reaching in my wallet. You know that little rectangular piece of plastic? Yeah. 29.9. 29.9, I'm still paying on those shoes. Why don't you come home, baby? Come home and slip back into those shoes and let's pretend like none of this ever happened. And that is the story of shoes. All right, now I did your request, and I got to do Randy's request. Was turn it around, I think. Yes. All right, and I haven't done this one in at least as long as I haven't done that one.
You did great on that one.
Did I do okay on that?
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Turn it around. Gotta turn this thing around. Turn it upside down. Gotta turn this thing around. Our little world's all topsy-turvy. You watch the news, man, it's gonna make you worry. And the things on top Shouldn't they be on bottom? The heebie-jeebies, man. Woo! You know we got 'em. Turn it around. Gotta turn this thing around. Turn it upside down. Gotta turn this thing around. Just look at the way we treat each other. It's kind of like we forgot. We're all sisters and brothers. Sure, you treat me nice. You will win my favor, but I can be a nasty next door neighbor. Turn it around. Gotta turn this thing around. Turn it upside down. Gotta turn these hearts around. Gotta turn this thing around. Well, the lines were there. We have crossed them, and our sense of direction sure seems like we've lost it. And the mess we're in, that ain't no real surprise. No, that's a little gift from Mr. Compromise. Here's a little joke, it just ain't funny. We just about supersized this here milk and honey. My finger's pointing, man, it ain't really aiming at the only one I know for sure could stand to do a little changing. Turn it around. Gotta turn this thing around. Turn it upside down. Gotta turn these hearts around. Gotta turn this thing around. Gotta turn this thing around. Turn it upside down. Gotta turn this thing around. It's not too late. We can still do it. All right. Now, dadgummit, can I play what I want?
Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to play both of those songs. It's good to play them again. I hadn't done them in so long. Thanks so much for the request there.
You're welcome.
So, I was a problem student. I've told you that, and it took me. I never did graduate from high school. I was 20 years old. I got drafted, and as I was a senior in high school, I got drafted because I wasn't going to graduate. And the principal called me in. Butch, are you going to go to summer school this year? I go, Mr. Petrie, I am not going to summer school this year. I've been to summer school every summer of my entire life. I'm not going this year. I didn't know he was on the draft board 2 weeks later. That's a true story. But the military was good for me, and it was a bad time to go, 67 to 69. And I got orders for Vietnam twice, but both times they were changed. I stayed in Germany my whole tour.
Yay.
And I know it was a blessing, and my father gave me good advice when I went into the Army. I'll tell you this real quick story. My father said, son, when you go in, just play guitar for anybody that has more rank than you. I go, well, that was everybody. And so I'm sitting in the day room on a Sunday. I've been there maybe 2 days in Fort Polk, Louisiana, which was that's so you started off there, then you went to Tigerland was across the way over there, and you trained over there, and then you went to Vietnam. That's what it was. So I'm sitting in the day room. I checked out a guitar. I'm sitting there playing, and this old sergeant comes up and to me, and he says, "Hey, boy, you know any Buck Owens?" For some reason, I said, "Oh, the Sun's gonna shine in my life today. Love's gonna live here again. That's all I knew of it. But he stopped me. He goes, okay, come here. I was scared to death. You know, I had no stripes. He's got lots of stripes, big old stripes. And he smelled like whiskey. It was like 2 p.m. But it was Sunday. And so he said, come here. And so we went somewhere kind of not very far away, and he just told me this. He said, next Friday, be in this day room, 7 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock was formation, you know. But he was my sergeant. So I said, okay, you know. So I'm there at 7 o'clock on Friday, and and he doesn't show up. But this guy comes in and goes, are you Private Morgan? I go, yes. He says, come with me. I go, okay, I go out. And there's a Jeep. And he says, get in. I get in the Jeep. And we leave base. We drive right through the gates. I got no permission to do this. I am in trouble. I know it. So we drive for a while, and we go way out in the country. There's an old house out there. And I go in, and there's the sergeant, Sergeant Emery. And he says, you see that chair over there? He goes, yes. He says, go sit in that chair and play guitar. Okay. So I go sit down. They had women in there. They were playing cards. They were smoking cigars. There was just a bunch of people in there, maybe 35, 40 people. And so I go sit down. I just start playing guitar and singing, and people would come by and say, you know this, you know that. I'd do as much of it as I could. I keep looking at the watch, and it was like bed check is at 10. You know, it's 11:30. I'm freaking out on the inside. I'm going to prison. Like, I know there's no way out of this. And so about midnight, the Jeep comes back. They pick me up. I go to my barracks, and there's a note on my bunk. It says, Private Morgan, you may sleep in the morning.
Whoa.
The only stipulation that the sergeant told me was, you couldn't tell anyone. He said, if you tell anybody, he says, here's how it's going to go. If you tell anyone, he says, I can make this easy on you, or this can be pure hell for you. All you got to do is mention it to one person. And if I find out about that, you're going to have some trouble here. So I hadn't told anybody. So I the lights come on at 5:30 for everybody to go formation, and the lieutenant tells me I can stay sleeping. So that went on every Friday for the whole time I was in the service. All of a sudden, I wasn't on KP duty anymore. I still had to do I still had to low crawl under the live rounds and do this, you know, crawl pit and climb all the other stuff, march and do everything that I had to do. But I didn't have to do the dirty stuff. No more latrine, none of that. All of a sudden, I was out of all of that. And so that went on, and I graduated and went down to get my orders, my folder, and everybody's folder was, you know, like that. Mm-hmm. But I got mine was about this thick, and he had written up like how great I was for troop morale. Oh, wow. And what a talented guy I was. Sergeant Emery did that, like just on his own, like, and so he had written up all this great stuff. Well, that went with me to Fort Sill, which was artillery. Was I being trained to tell the cannon where to put its barrel? FDC, they call it fire direction control, and grid and coordinates, you know. And so that's what I went for. When I got to Fort Sill, I got off the bus, and the guy instantly goes, Private Morgan, come with me. I go, oh, gee whiz, you know, like I've been here in like 10 minutes, you know. He goes, okay, so here's the list of all the musicians that are in the unit here. He says, would you put a band together? He says, and he gave me a key. He goes, here's the key to the music room. I opened up the music room. It was full of Fender gear, like Stratocasters, drums, bass, keyboards, PA, everything. He says, just whatever you need. He says, just put me a band together. I need a band. He said, here's a list of musicians. So I got 5 guys together, and we played music. And I still had to do everything everybody else was having to do. I had to go to do all the classes and all that stuff. But I didn't have to pull any guard duty. I didn't have to do any of that. So that's what saved me was when I got to Germany, I got orders for Vietnam right off the bat. And so I called my wife, and I said, well, we can't get married because I'm going to Vietnam, and I don't want to get married if I'm going to Nam. And so 2 days later, I'm waiting to leave, and a guy comes in and says, did you see the bulletin board? I go, no. He says, you need to go check the bulletin board out. So I go down and check out the bulletin board, and my orders had been changed to Germany. Wow. Yeah. And so I got to Germany, and I stayed there the whole time. I got hooked up to the USO. I toured Germany with a band, and we played for the missile bases, all the people that were guarding the warheads and stuff. And so we'd go in and do 2 shows. We'd do a country show and a rock show. We just changed clothes. You know, put on a cowboy hat and a paisley shirt. And so that's what happened. That's how it happened. And so the music kind of kept me in Germany.
Saved your life.
Amen. It could have saved my life. Many of my friends did not make it back from. So I told you all of that, but I want to tell you this. I was a problem child, and we had a teacher named Mr. Hellwig, and Mr. Hellwig was our English teacher, and he had this chair that he sat in every morning, and he kept it by the door, and had rollers on it, and he would come in. We'd all be sitting there waiting for him. He'd come in and he'd hit that chair with his butt, and he would slide that chair all the way over to the desk. For some reason, I thought it would be funny if I took one of those rollers off. Oh, no. and it would have been funny, except he fell backwards and hit his head, busted his head open. Oh yeah, it was bad. It didn't kill him or anything, but it made the people think that I was a bad guy, right? And so I had to go to summer school, but they wouldn't let me go to Divine summer school. I had to go to South San High, which was 52 miles away from where I lived, which meant instead of getting up at 7 o'clock, being at summer school at 8, I had to get up at like 5 o'clock to be at summer school at 8. And so the South San High in San Antonio, Texas. And I thought it was going to be a real drag, but I met this girl. Whew, the first day I was there, her name was Mokaloo. I know you think I made that up. Mokaloo Bohemianablutz was her last name. So Mocolu Bohemianablutz. And I just thought she was strikingly beautiful. And she was, and in a Picasso kind of way. Like her ears were not exactly... and her ankles were pointed. But I thought, and I thought she was gorgeous in that kind of, in an artistic kind of way. In my mind, I could see her like just beautiful. Well, I had 6 weeks to work on her, and she didn't really care about that, but I did get a pretty good song out of it. So we're going to do it for you. It's called Mokaloo. Here we go. I went to summer school, South San High. Saw this girl, tall and shy. Her hair was long and black. She was skinny as could be. I kept looking at her. She kept looking at me. So I walked up. I asked her name, and she said, Mokaloo. And I began to sing, Mokaloo. I think I'm in love, Mokaloo. What was your mama thinking of when the doctor said, what do you want to name this little child? She say, well, Mokaloo, it'll drive the boys wild. Then she said, well, where are you from? I said, I'm from Divine, and failing algebra was the crime that got me here. Summer school, such a waste of time. I thought it would be terrible. You've changed my mind. I'd have never met such a cool little girl as you if I hadn't have got sent here to summer school. Mokaloo, I think I'm in love, Mokaloo. What was your daddy thinking of when the doctor said, what do you want to name the child? He said, well, Mokaloo, it'd drive the boys wild. Well, then lunchtime came, I found her sitting all alone. I sat down beside her, I made myself at home, took out my PBJ. I cut it in two, and I gave it a little half to cute, ooh, Mokaloo. She winked at me, gave me a cool little smile. What's a boy gonna do except just go wild, Mokaloo? You got a hold on me, Mokaloo. Oh, baby, can't you see? I'd do almost anything that you ask me to for just one chance with my Mokaloo. But then summer school ended, so did our romance. The very next summer I knew I had one more chance. So I failed English, and I failed algebra, and I failed geometry too, just to make real sure I got to go back to summer school. I went running down the hall, screaming her name, but I never got to see Mokaloo again. Mokaloo, got a hold on me, Mokaloo. Oh, baby, can't you see? I'd do almost anything that you ask me to for just one chance with my Mokaloo. What was your mama thinking, Mokaloo? I think your parents had been drinking when the doctor said, what do you want to name this child? They say, well, Mokaloo, it'd drive the boys wild. Oh, boy. Well, let's see here. Are we still having fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all are faking it, aren't you?
No story here.
Well, I'll do this one here for you. This is a song I wrote about my daddy when he passed away. Right after I told you I went to Denmark, and just a couple of weeks before I went to Denmark, Dad passed away, and he was 96, and he was in real good shape. We were watching the Spurs play a championship game with the Miami Heat and LeBron James, and we were having a good time. And Dad had just eaten dinner, and he said, I got to go to the bathroom. So he got up, headed to the bathroom, and came back a few minutes later and sat down. As soon as he sat down, he said, I go, what? I got to go to the bathroom again. Okay. So he stood up, and when he stood up this time, there was something, it was just a little strange, and he just looked flushed. And so I went over to him, and I was just facing him like this, and I put my arms under his arms, and I started walking him into the bathroom. And we got into the bathroom, and I managed to get his pajamas down, and I set him on the toilet, and he looked up at me, and he died right there.
Wow.
I know. And it was such a, I couldn't even grieve it. It was so tender. It was.
Yeah.
It was a holy moment. You know, it's as hard as it was like so tender. And so I just left for fixing to leave for Denmark, and while I was over there, I was playing with a band called the Sentimentals, and we had 2 weeks over there. And at some point, I paid for a little recording session so we could record the songs together that we were doing. And they said, well, we should do something new, not just the songs we worked on. I go, well, I don't have anything new. I go, well, the session's tomorrow. You got tonight. Write something. So I did. And I wrote this for my daddy. It's called Melancholy Wind. Been a long, long day. The sun would not go down. There's a melancholy wind, and it's blowing round. And the morning dove is singing with a lonely coo. It's been a long, long day. I'm missing you. Strike up the band. I'll sing the blues. Missing you. Does it seem that long ago I had you here? The sound of your voice was in my ear. But it came your time to go. We were eye to eye. Oh, we loved each other so. That is why I'll strike up the band. I'll sing the blues. Missing you. Well, it's a song the world's been singing since time began. And the melody is carried on the melancholy wind. And if you listen to it, if you listen very long, gonna recognize the melody. You'll start to sing along. Strike up the band. I'll sing the blues. Strike up the band. I'll sing the blues. Okay then. I'm trying. What next?
Play something happy.
Something. Oh, okay. Man, you are a problem.
What you got is crying. Let's get it.
I got the perfect song for you, sir.
Good. Get her a lick. Let her see if she'll fire.
All right.
Why would you tell me you like to cry in public? What are you talking about?
He invited back.
Joy has a song to sing. Let her sing it now. Joy's got a song. Let her sing it now. Put joy where your heart is. Sing it loud. Ah, Mercy has a song to sing. Let's all spread it round. Mercy's got a song. Let's spread it round. Put mercy where your hands are. Spread it round. Ah, love is the life to live. Go ahead, live it now. Love is the life. Let's live it now. Use the words when you need to. I know you know the words. There's 3 of them, and we say them a lot. When we ain't saying them, we need to live them now. Yeah, everybody live it, come on. Woo! Now you have a song to sing. You should sing it now. You got a song. You should sing it now. Put the song where your feet are. Let's dance around. 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 Dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Woo. Thank you. You've got a song to sing. Love is the life you live. Little mercy on your fingertips and joy. That's a song you will sing. You've got a song to sing. Love is the life to live. Little mercy on your fingertips and joy. That's a song you will sing. Oh, joy is the song you'll sing. Let joy be the song you sing. Sing, sing, sing. Woo. Uh-huh. All right. How about a song with the word Waxahachie in it? I got one. Here we go. I'm going to do it for you. Now, I wrote this song during my capo on the 7th fret period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I left it on there for about 2 months, and I just refused to take it off. I just wrote a bunch of songs with that on there because it just changes the sound of the guitar. So I wrote this song. Let's see if I can do it for you. I was walking down the road, looking at my toes. Came upon a guy with a bloody nose. Could have ignored him, I suppose. But then I thought to myself, that would just be weird. So I said hello, and he said hello too. Why, I didn't keep walking or having a clue. Instead, I stopped and said, what in the heck happened to you? You got blood in your beard. And he looked up at me from the sidewalk. He said, I know. I was running on and on in a marathon. Almost had the whole race won. But I was headed right into the sun. Couldn't really see where I was going. I didn't care. I was feeling mighty proud. Smiling and waving in my adoring hometown crowd. They were yelling something at me really loud that I could not quite make out. Tree, look out for the tree. I reached down and grabbed his hand, pulled him up from the sidewalk, brushed him off a little, and I thought that'd be pretty much the end of the deal, but for some reason he decided to have this weird midlife crisis breakdown right there, broad daylight on the sidewalk in Waxahachie, Texas. Started crying like a baby and telling me how he'd been running into trees his whole life. He just thinks, if I ever do it again, I don't think I'm going to get up. I wanted to tell him something good, something to cheer him up, make him feel better about things. I couldn't think of nothing. So I told him this. Well, it was Boy Scout camp out Burnt Boot Creek. I was a tenderfoot, Troop 183. I was happy as a boy could be, eating cold baked beans from a can. Scout master brought his dog Dag Nabbit, in case we chased up a coon or a rabbit. Really nice to have a dog that'll run and grab it, don't you know? Yeah, but Dag Nabbit came upon a big old javelina hog rooting around in a muddy bog, and his hair was green and his eyes were red. There was steam coming out of his nose. Well, Dag Nabbit wanted no part of that. Tucked his tail between his legs and he ran back to camp. Now there's nothing standing between me and a pissed off javelina, a tree. Thank God, a tree. I said, see, man, trees can be good things. I know. Tree saved my life that day. Going, next time you run into a tree, I suggest you reach up and grab the first limb you can reach and pull yourself up by it. Use that old tree. Keep pulling yourself up. In fact, pull yourself up till you get all the way to the top. Because when you get to the top of the tree, you can see 360 degrees, a beautiful world that God has made just for your eye to look at. You can look behind you. You can see how far you've come. You can look out front and you can see how far you have to go. You can look straight down. You can see the very roots of the thing that made you who you are. And when you get through doing all that looking, you can look straight up and you can say, a tree, thank God, a tree.
Hey.
Two more?
Sounds great.
Sounded great?
Sounds great.
Sounds great. Does that, how many more you want me to do?
Oh, I don't know, but you sound
20?
great. No, you do too.
You got a song about Texas?
I did a song about Texas already.
Necklace.
He slept since then.
Well,
All right, I'll do it. I'll do another song about Texas.
I have a request.
What is it?
And
I already played your
I
request.
know, but you'll like this one.
I don't know if I will or not.
Look behind you. Just look back.
That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt.
Just look back. I need you to do that song.
Oh, I was going to, but not right now.
That's okay.
That's why I was asking you how much time we had.
Yeah. You got time to do that.
Okay.
You thought right?
I'm gonna do another Texas song for this guy right here.
I would appreciate it.
Well, all right. Well, Lord knows I just want you to be happy.
You're saying about we need to have joy and happiness and
That would make him
a
happy.
tree and everything. Let's get her done.
If I come back here, I don't want this guy in the room. That's not true, sir. I love having you here, and I appreciate you.
If you come back, I probably won't be here. I'll be underground.
Oh, now,
No, you will not.
just for that, I'm coming back next week.
There you
Well, I'll
go.
be here.
Ah, man, it's a beautiful day in Texas. Sky's blue, the sun is shining bright. I'm sitting here on the banks of the Guadalupe. Everything seems to be all right. Woo! Oh man, what a great night in Texas. Friends of mine call this place paradise. I might agree with this one thing, kinda perplexes me. I thought in paradise everything was nice, but somewhere somebody waits all alone. Somewhere there's a hand on a phone. Somewhere somebody stopped caring and just sitting there with the TV blaring. Somewhere somebody's hanging on tight. Somewhere somebody slips out of sight. Somewhere somebody's starting and drinking, and somebody somewhere is taking a beating. But you know what? Right now it's a beautiful day in Texas. I got no burdens, I got no heavy loads. I'm packing a lunch, couldn't really say which way my next step is, but I'm gonna spend this day looking for some horny toads. Right here in Texas, somewhere in Texas, right here in Texas. Somewhere somebody's peddling dirt. Somewhere some little kid's getting hurt. And somewhere you know the hungry aren't fed. And somewhere it's the Day of the Dead. And somewhere somebody's starting a fight. Somewhere somebody's pulling a knife. Somewhere somebody's lying and cheating, and somebody somewhere is taking a beating. But you know what? Right now it's a beautiful day in Texas. I got no burdens, I got no heavy loads. I'm packing a lunch, couldn't really say which way my next step is, but I'm gonna spend this day looking for some horny toads. Right here in Texas, somewhere in Texas, right here in Texas. Somewhere Texas. Somewhere Texas.
There you go, Robert.
Go to Green Hall, let's go.
I never played there.
You never played Green Hall?
No, they don't like me there.
Why?
Well, I don't want to get into it. Lukenbach I play all the time. Yeah. In fact, I'm.
Anybody can play at the back.
Huh?
Anybody can play in the back porch of the post office.
I've never been. I need to go sometime.
Oh yeah, Lukenbach is wonderful. I host the Songwriter Circle there coming up in November, December. I always do it in the wintertime because you get to play inside. Otherwise, it's just hot out there. You know, so I people go, well, nobody, you know, why do you do it in the winter? I go, well, because I get to be inside, and it's no brainer for me. Anyway, so every Monday for 2 months I'll be playing there from 5 until 9. So let's do this Man in the Mirror.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Okay, and then I got one more, and we'll call it a night. Beautiful. Now, I wrote this song. My dad, like I told you, he was a World War II guy, and the Philippines, and great patriot, wonderful man, and as they all were and are. And so at some point, when he was 93, I decided I was going to take him up to Washington, D.C. and go to see the World War II memorial there and the Vietnam memorial, and I hadn't been there. And so we decided we would go. So we went in the van, and we drove up. And my dad, as you can imagine, my dad was a good storyteller. I didn't come by this unnaturally. My dad, he thought he was Walter Cronkite. And at any rate, I had a little recorder, a little handheld recorder, and I was trying to record some of his stories because I knew someday I wasn't going to have them, and so I wanted to, but he didn't like me to record. And so I had the recorder down by the seat here, and I just casually mentioned, something like, well, tell me that story about those two kids in front of the theater, and Frankenstein and the werewolf. You ain't got that recorder on, do you? No, sir. And I asked him, I go, well, what's the, he went through a lot of stuff, my dad did, lost, my brother passed away when he was 16, and my dad became an alcoholic, and got a handle on that, though, and he was clean and sober for 30 years, the last 30 years of his life, and he dang near lost the whole family, and so, he'd been through a lot. So I asked him one time, I go, what's the hardest thing you've ever had to face? And without hesitation, he goes, well, it's that guy I see in the mirror every night. I don't like him. He knows everything about me. And I can't pull nothing over on him. I can't tell him, I have to tell him the truth, and it always is painful. So I wrote this song about that. I don't know who that guy was that my dad saw in the mirror, but I know who my guy is. And girls too. You have girls in the mirror as well. Let's see if I can. I haven't done this in a little while. I can do this. It's been a while. Well, I get to see him every night just before I go to bed. He stands there in his underwear, silly hat still on his head. I brush my teeth and he looks at me, and I'm thinking, is that really who I am? Am I the man in the mirror? I must admit, I'm not impressed even a little bit with your coolness or your style or the way you know just what to say through that expensive little smile. Now nobody knows me quite the way you do. The man in the mirror. Hey, man in the mirror, have you noticed your hair's turning gray? Say, yeah, I've noticed. I'm really glad I don't feel as old as you look today. You know, sometimes your skin, it's a little thin, and you are thick between your ears. The man in the mirror. And he knows my every secret and every dark thing
in my soul. And I know every crazy thought he's ever had, and every lie he's ever told. Now I pray no one on this here planet ever gets to know the man in the mirror. When the last song's sung, when all the lights go out, when I am finally home, well, I'll have another face-to-face. I'll say, Lord, there's something I just gotta know. Why would you come down here to save the man I see? The man in the mirror. Yeah, I get to see him every night just before I go to bed. He stands there in his underwear, not much going on in that old head. I look him over head to toe. He can be such a hypocrite. The man in the mirror, you know he's full of it. The man in the mirror, but God forgives this man in the mirror.
Well, we made it through that one.
Listen, I got to tell y'all, this has been so much fun for me. Thank you so much. I don't tour very much anymore, and I don't get to play to rooms where people are listening very much. I got a Thursday night little rock and roll gig I do. That's a little bit different, sitting in a bar with the TVs blaring and while you're playing. It's fun, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it, but this is such a privilege to get up here and just, do what I do, whatever that may be, and to keep you entertained as much as I can. And I love you each and every one for being attentive tonight and paying attention. And I hope that something rubbed off on you good tonight. One of the things I do is I do take my music. I am a Christian and I do love the Lord, but I don't push that off on people. I do sing about it. But I'm not a preacher from the podium, and so I play this next song almost every gig I do, and I started by always saying, I don't know whether or not you believe in heaven or not, but man, what a great idea, huh? Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you didn't, I go, I do. I believe in heaven. I think I'll make it there one day.
You will.
I know it. I'm not worried about it. But let's say you didn't believe it. But let's just say it was an idea. It's a beautiful idea where everybody, no pain and sorrow, no sadness, no sickness, and everybody treats everybody right. And so I wrote this song so I could have something to sing in the room. Now I think that we experienced a little bit of heaven right in here tonight.
Yes, we did.
Yes. And so I believe that happens everywhere we go. And that's our job on this planet, is to take a little heaven with us wherever we go. So that's what this song is about. You'll never guess the name of it.
Heaven.
Ah, be doggone. Oh yeah, I've heard about heaven, how it's out there somewhere far away. Oh, but I get little glimpses of what I believe could be heaven the love that's always around me. Like right now, right here in this place. Or just correct change at the drive-thru. Hey, they got my order right. Ain't that heaven every day? And the choir is not always angelic as the out-of-tune guitars play. And we all sing along to our favorite songs. Bring a little heaven to our space. Oh yeah, I am a believer. I believe I'll get there one day. But in the meantime, I'd like another slice of lemon meringue pie. Put a little heaven in my face. And the choir is not always angelic as the out-of-tune guitars play. And we all sing along to our favorite songs. Bring a little heaven to our place. Yeah, we all sing along to an Al Barlow song, and we all sing along to a John Prine song, and we all sing along to a Guy Clark song, and we all sing along to this Butch Morgan song. Bring a little heaven to our space. Thank you all so much. Bring a little heaven to your space. Thank you. Thank you. Money in the tip jar. I don't have CDs, so put money in there and get the recordings from right here.